Good morning, everyone. Perfect. Welcome to today's expert panel on innovative bioenergy solutions. So glad to welcome here today. The organizers asked me to start off with a notice. This will be a trilingual expert panel, so please make sure you have your headsets to be able to listen in German, English, and Chinese. So I think now also our panel is filling up. All right. So I think you can already come forward if you like. Or would you prefer to sit here? Okay. Okay. Anyway. Welcome everyone again. So my name is Lena Kuhn. I'm from Leibniz Institute for Agricultural Development in Transition Economies, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all here today. So I said, I can take a seat. So I said we are a panel on innovative biomass energy technologies with a policy perspective. Well, we are especially interested in also exchanging on solutions implemented in Germany and in China. So this panel, therefore, is jointly organized with the Sino-German Agricultural Center, short DCZ. And I think we will simply start off with our Deputy Director of DCZ, Michael Böhme, Dr. Böhme, who will give a short introduction of the Sino-German Agricultural Center and its work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lena. It's great to see you all. I actually can't see you. It's very bright. All right. I think you can all hear me. And I'm very glad to be here today, and also a very warm welcome to all of you from on behalf of the Sino-German Agricultural Center. Yeah. I actually don't like to be behind the podium, but I need to manage the slide and the microphone, but it should be okay. Yes, so thanks a lot for coming to today's panel. I will be very brief. I just wanted to give you a little bit of context so you understand how that panel came about. So as Elena just introduced, we are the Sino-German Agricultural Center. And we work, I think, in one of the most complex but also most rewarding and most interesting fields. We are working on the bilateral cooperation in agriculture and food between Germany and China. And as you can imagine, it's very complex, but it's also very interesting, and it's also very significant, I think. We have two political partners, just briefly for you to understand. We sit in Beijing, so if you ever come to Beijing, please visit our office. Our political partners are the Ministry of Food and Agriculture of Germany, and significantly, we also receive the same amount of support and funding from the Chinese Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. We have project partners from China, most significantly the Foreign Economic Cooperation Center, which is a kind of agency belonging to the Chinese Ministry of Food and Agriculture. We are very happy to have two representatives of FECC here with us today. And I would very much encourage all of you, if you have any questions or any need for dialogue, please reach out to us or to them. We are here after the panel as well. And we also work with the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences, a very big and important research organization. And in terms of implementation, we work with IAMO, so Lena is our moderator here today, and with IAK Agrar Consulting. We have been around for 10 years, so we think of ourselves as an established and a long-term platform rather than a project. And what we do is, we are not a technical project, but we do dialogues. And I think this is a very nice example of how such a dialogue could work. We work with political partners in China and Germany. We work with science partners, and we work with partners from business and industry to get dialogues going. And all of these dialogues, as you can see here, cover a whole range of topics, but they are all geared towards how do we jointly work on the transformation of agri-food systems to make sure that we become more ecologically sustainable, more socially equitable, climate resilient, future-proof. And I think this panel looking at bioeconomy resources and their sustainable use and reuse and recycling plays a very big part in that. So without further ado, thanks to all, and hope you enjoy this panel.
Thank you very much, Michaela. I think this was a very good starting off point. So maybe connecting to this, I think in all our years of cooperation within DCZ and our dialogues, I think we quickly realized that also in the bioenergy sector, China and Germany are facing similar challenges, maybe for different reasons and maybe different extents or different specifications. But it's quite clear that there are synergies in working together on solutions, discussing solutions, and maybe also discussing policy implications, as is supposed to be done in this session. So sustainability and carbon neutrality, I think, are important keywords, which are, among others, supposed to be tackled with biomass solutions and bioenergy. At the same time, I think we also, bioenergy has the potential to solve issues of waste management and residue management, in this sense, in the best way, yeah? But I think bioenergy has the challenge to solve a lot of technical challenges. And today we hope to have a presentation showing us a bit like the challenges and showing us a selected number of technical innovations that could help to overcome these problems. And then, of course, looking a bit into the policy challenges in this, how a policy can contribute to overcome maybe more market-based challenges in this. So let's say in the end, of course, we also hope to look a bit into areas of synergies for specific collaboration and to set us on our path for, let's say, stronger cooperation between Germany and China in this area. So as already said, we welcome today four panel speakers. We will, I think, first have a look at 4 short introductions for 4 presentations, which then will be followed by a panel discussion. And of course, we also hope to make use of the expertise in our audience. So I really hope we can also get a lot of input and comments from our esteemed audience. So I have to be careful. I speak fast and the translation needs to take some time. So I think, but in general, we are ready to start off with our first presentation, which will start with an overview about the situation in Germany especially, and also with a lot of these general challenges we have been talking about. So please welcome our first panelist, Professor Michael Nelles, who is Scientific Managing Director of the Deutsche Biomass Forschungszentrum, short DBFZ, looking at exactly like this research on biomass problems seated in Leipzig, not too far from Berlin. He's also holding a full professorship at University of Rostock and is an expert on waste management and bioenergy in Germany. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me and give me the chance to show you a little bit the situation in Germany. Geht? Das ist das andere?
Also wenn man ein bisschen mobil ist, dann ist das so besser.
Now it's better? Okay, too loud. Yes, thanks for the nice introduction. I personally work for more than 20 years with Chinese colleagues, have 4 professorships in Shenyang, Beijing, also Shanghai and Hefei, where we started our cooperation with all the colleagues. And since 2012, I'm the science director of the German Biomass Research Center. This is a governmental center for all the issues, especially in the field of bioenergy, but more and more also in material science. And I will give you only a short overview, but you are all experts in bioeconomy. I hope this is not too boring for you. I think the first point is that we need biomass for different issues. And the biomass is limited. We have big amounts, but also a limitation. And the first goal is to produce enough food for the people. The second part, this is also in the technical issues, material use. There we need cascades in a long time. And the last point is to use biomass as energy. If we want to go go for 100% renewable energy, then renewable energy must be roughly 100%, and also we need a circular economy. These two pillars we need for a climate neutral society. In Germany, the goal is that we reach it in 2045, and we have a long way to go. I will show you a little bit later. Biomass and bioenergy in Germany. Here you can see what we do in Germany. The agricultural area we use for the renewable resources are showed in this slide. You can see we have 2 million and roughly 500,000 hectares in use, and 90% we are using for the production of bioenergy and 11% for the material use. So if we take a deeper look what we are doing in the forest area, and these are older data, but it's nearly the same in the last 2-3 years. We have roughly 50% are going to material use, and the byproducts we use for energy. One focus of our work at the DBFZ is to find the best ecological solution for all the biogenic waste and residues we have in Germany. You can see here there are big numbers, roughly 210 million tons of dry matter, so without water. This is important. We have every year in Germany. These are agricultural byproducts. We have the residues from the forestry and also the waste issues, industrial waste, sewage sludge, and municipal waste. Also other residues, and you see half of this amount going back to forestry and agricultural issues, and the other half, it's 110 million tons of dry matter. There we have to find the right solutions. And there we have the discussions, a lot of projects to find the right way to handle this. Here you can see that we in Germany have a long way to go to implement a 100% renewable energy system. These are the data from 2023. And you can see 80% of our energy we use in Germany is fossil-based. So we have only 20% in the renewable area, and you see the green part, more than 50% is based on bioenergy. So there we have a lot to do. And you can see here the reason for that. In the electricity, this is always in the media in Germany. We on a good way, 50% are based renewable, but you see in the heating area it's below 20%, and in the mobility area below 10%. We have also good results in the area of CO2 emissions based on biomass and bioenergy. You can see here in the German energy system, 32% the reduction is coming from biomass if you have the basic of the renewable energy in Germany. Now I will go in the second part a little bit deeper in an example of biogas. You can see here the development from in the last more than 20 years. Most of the 10,000 biogas plants are located in the agricultural area, around 8,600 right now. And we have also more than 1,200 in the wastewater treatment area with sewage sludge. We have landfill gas and so on. So in general, we have more than 10,000. But we have to develop especially the agricultural-based biogas sector further. You can see here the map of Germany. We have located all these agricultural biogas plants all over Germany with some hotspots, so it's a good basic for a decentralized energy system we want to create in Germany. Here you can see one of the challenges we have to face. You see roughly 50% of the mass we have to use in the biogas treatment facilities is based on energy crops, and if you look for the energy demand, it's roughly 80%. So we have to shift the substrates to more municipal waste, sewage sludge, and all the residues I mentioned before. So this is a political way where we have to go in Germany. First step, food guarantee. This is not a problem in Germany. Material utilization, a hot topic where we are working in different projects, and there we have to do a lot in Germany. And the last step is the energy utilization based on the residues. Here are the next slides are some examples where the technical development is going further. This is a typical agricultural biogas plant. We have more than 8,000 in this structure. We have biomass, the energy crops, also substrates of residues from the agricultural and the waste sector. Then we have the digester produce the gas in combined heat and power units. We produce electricity. This is going to the grid. And we have the heat. This we can use in most of the concepts right now. Then we have the digestate that we can produce fertilizer. This is a situation we have right now. And there are two directions where we are going. We have the one goal that we produce more flexible the biogas, especially the electricity based on the biogas plants. And there is a lot of options what you can do in this area. Here you can see some examples that this is also implemented in different practice projects, and this is a way where we go for more flexible biogas production. And the other main point is that we develop the current biogas treatment facilities to more biorefineries, for example, cooperate with the chemical industry. There are also a lot of projects running that we can also produce substrates for the chemical industry. Here you can see the development we face in Germany. In the short and medium term, especially biomethane, combined heat and power plants, especially in the urban areas with the gas infrastructure. In medium term, we have more in the mobility sector, transport, fuels, and so on. And biomethane is also important, basic to develop the German industry, not only the chemical industry. Conclusion and outlook, because I'm going to the end of the 12 minutes, I think. Important is that Germany can reach in 2045 the climate neutral economy and society, and therefore we need a 100% renewable energy system. You saw we have a long way to go. And we need a very good combined material and energetic utilization of biomass. The other points are more going in detail. I don't want to read it because we have the limited time, and I think there are some points we can discuss afterwards in the discussion round. So at this time, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, also especially for the concise time management. So after this, I think a very nice introduction also about like overview on the German situation. We will follow up with a second talk straight away, which offers insights into current innovations on top of the basic technology, also especially what Professor Nellis has been talking about. So please welcome our second speaker. Dr. Hong Hao is Vice Director of the China Association of the Rural Energy Industry, as well as Vice President of the World Bioenergy Association. As a very renowned researcher, he's a forerunner of bioheat supply industries in China, and he will show us a few innovations which are happening right now.
Thank you very much for giving me the chance to be here. It's my honor. 20 years before my first, I have a visit to Germany. That's the beginning I come into the biomass energy business. So I have to say thank you. This time, I on behalf of China Association of Rural Energy Industry, we have a 5-year plan in China, you know. The first 5-year plan for bioeconomy is from 2020. And the biomass energy is one of the important part of this 5-year plan. And I think next year for new 5-year plan, biomass energy will be also very important issue. So when we're talking about the biomass industry, one thing I want to mention is the income of our farmers. For example, in China, we only calculate for the feed industries, but we caused the straw as a fuel. It's not calculated how these straw could be make profit, but biomass industry could do this. And so we call it second agriculture. Of course, China is the biggest country who uses the most energy. And so energy security is one of the important things, not just for China, but for the whole world. So biomass should be one of the resources to solve the problem that the energy security we face. Of course, it will be benefit to the environment. Otherwise, if the straw burned on the field, it will cause pollutions. So if we use it into energy, and this kind of pollution will be stopped. So generally, the value chain of the biomass energy industry includes 3 things. One is raw materials and how we treat it. And the second, that is the energy for the use of energy. The third, the end use of applications. So in China, we have already, in heating market, we already set up this industry chain. And we also have some standard, including these 4 parts. And one thing I want to mention about biomass energy compared with other kind of renewables, I have to say, biomass energy is one kind of very special advantage. That is, as we all know, China have so many solar, wind energy, but these energy resources located in the west side of China, which only 25% people live there. So it's not the energy market there. Well, biomass energy located in east side of China, which is our energy demand market. So it's combined with the resources and the marketing. And I would like to say some straw resources, especially in China, not in China, but also in the developing countries. So China have a lot of straws, and of course, energy crops. But energy crops will not be planted in the agriculture areas. It should be planted in other places. But China, we have 1.8 billion mu of agriculture area, but we have 2 billion mu of rural areas that could plant energy crops. Just now I mentioned about the resources of biomass. Secondly, I want to say something about the marketing. The marketing issue is a very important thing that we should focus on manufacturing industries. Well, manufacturing industries takes 1/3 of the total GDP of China, but the emission, the energy consumption takes 2/3%. That means the manufacturing industry is the biggest marketing. And we can see the emission of China takes as much as 31% of the CO2 emission in the whole world, which is the #1. And the manufacturing share also 30%. That we have to say the manufacturing industry is the reason that we cause so many CO2 emissions. And we have to understand China is a factory for the whole world, not just for Chinese people. So we have made so many things, and these manufacturers cost CO2 emissions. So not just the CO2 emission caused by Chinese people, but the whole world. So we have to solve this problem inside China. So when we calculate what kind of energy demand for the manufacturing industries, of course we have 3 final marketing for energy. One is electricity, one is heating, one is transportation. For the manufacturing industries, they need 40% of electricity, while 60% of heating. So heating is the most important market for the manufacturers. So how we can solve the heating to feed the demand of the manufacturers? So biomass energy is one of the answer to solve this problem. So 20 years before, we make pellets. Why we make pellets? Because we want to make it the high efficiency of the energy used, and also make it the energy crops higher than the rural area, raw materials. And we use these kind of pellets to do the heating supply to so many customers, including 7 of them are top 500 enterprises of the world in China. And we also do the second, we may mention the second generation biomass. That means the core is from the biomass. The difference is the core is 1 million years before biomass. We can do the same thing in factory. So what we can do this, okay. And also the third generation, we can make a biochar. At the same time, we use the gasification technology. The gas could make steam to supply the demand of the industries. And this is the sample what we have done. This is a coal-fired boiler. It means originally it is coal-fired boiler, but we mix the fuel with the biomass 20%. It don't need to change the infrastructure of the energy, but it can lower down the CO2 emissions. And this is 100% based on wood chips. And instead of just now, it's instead of natural gas. And this is what I mentioned. We use bamboo based on gasification technology, and we can get bio steam and also biochar. And we also develop a small size CHP plant to demand the industry zones need. And this is my partner. We have this kind of water-cooled vibration grid boiler. This is originally from Denmark, but it is used popularly in China. More than 100 CHP plants use this kind of technology. So what I want to say, the industry in China, not in China, but in the whole world, need heatings or electricities. So what we are trying to do is we make 3 green, the green electricity, green heating, and also green gas to supply the heat from the industry demand. And make the roadmap of carbon neutral, especially for China infrastructure based on coal. So I think the pellets now is the fourth biggest fuel in the whole world tradings. And China is the demand, is the marketing, which could make this industry developed. And we hope we will use this chance to collaboration together to develop biomass energy industries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hau, for these fascinating insights into new technology and maybe also new cooperation potential. So following this technical presentation, we will look into another innovation, technical adaptation, which will be presented by our third panel speaker, Dr. Liu Zhang, who is General Manager of GFFA Wanhao Energy Equipment Company, which is, as I just learned, the biggest consumer of biomass in China, apparently. So a huge player. For a long time now, he's engaged in topics of bioenergy, energy conservation, and carbon reduction. Wanhao Energy is developing and providing integrated high-end energy equipment and services across the world, and we're really looking forward into your presentation.
女士们、先生们，大家好，我来自于中国，来自于合肥万豪能源。那今天给大家带来的是液化生物甲烷技术介绍。那我们万豪能源呢是在安徽，中国安徽的合肥。那我们主要是以系统设计、运营整体化的服务，为我们客户提供一体化的解决方案。我们的主营的3大模块。 包括了我们的生物制造，包括我们的装备制造，以及包括我们的
manufacturing and energy saving carbon reduction.
那从我们的核心技术是
our core energy is the whole design and then holistic design of technology combination. We also develop software development that controls the whole process. We help our customers to integrate and apply the devices to meet their special demands. We also do carbon capture, and we also purify the gas, as well as the equipment that are needed in the process. Here is our project in Bongbu, Anhui. This is the world's first liquefied biomethane and carbon capture project. So we have about 100,000 ton biogas. This is a standard large-scale project. This is the whole roadmap, process route for our technology. So we use a manure and other organic waste, put them through high temperature anaerobic fermentation. Out of the process, we have biomass and biogas residue. After purification and liquefaction process, we turn biomass into liquefied biomethane and liquid biogenic carbon dioxide. What we do with the residue? One is we turn it into fertilizer. The other is that we turn them into green methanol. And obviously, we have our own core technology for the high-temperature anaerobic fermentation. And this ensures that the methane content in biomass is up to 65%. What we aim to solve is the cost problem in conventional biogas production. And we have reduced successfully the cost to 40%. What we do with the biogas afterwards is 90% of it goes to electricity. And also we have a diversified value chain through this process. First of all, we use a mixture of various raw materials for our fermentation, so that we could also solve the problem of resources for fermentation. Additionally, we have shortened successfully the fermentation cycle. Thirdly, as I mentioned, it's a huge reduction of our cost. This is also my personal focus. Another key technology from us is heat recovery system. What do? We use PV panel as the others to collect the energy. But however, we do not use energy supplied by other parties anymore. That contributes to the reduction of our cost. After we've got the biogas, we go through desulfurization. In order to do that, we need to make sure that all the gases content are up to our standard. In the purification process, we use the pressure swing absorption, PSA, decarbonization. Of course, the cost and the running cost altogether is only 50% of the traditional production. And we are able to recover about 99% of the carbon dioxide. Here is our liquefaction process. So the biomethane we have, we put it through amine solution decarbonization, and then dehydration and demulcuration. Afterwards, we do liquefaction. The technology we adopt here is single-stage mixed refrigeration, which is completely sealed, so that we could cool our methane into minus 160 degrees. Another key technology or equipment is the refrigerant circulation system. A highlight from that is to reduce the safety hazards from the discharge of refrigerant, and we also could also increase the production time rate. This is a sealed, independent system. This is a test platform that we build in our factory plant. All the equipment from us would be tested strictly on our test platform. We have our own standardization, modularization, and intelligentization. Now, we would produce all of our manufacturers according to certain standards that we set up ourselves. We would also take advantage of modularization, which improves the quality and reliability of equipment. This green carbon cycle industry is what China is trying to promote nationwide. We could see here, now the agricultural waste would be put into this fermentation system. The product Carbon dioxide is green. It can also be captured and stored. Our methane could be turned into hydrogen fuel cell. The cell, in combination with wind and solar power, could be off-grid power that provides gas, heat, electricity. This technology, including our solar power system, are relatively mature. Solar power could reduce the energy consumption to 50%, and 30% for carbon emission reduction. This is completely off-grid. Now, the LBM has obviously great commercial value. First of all, it has very, very high energy density, and it has less waste after being burned. Now, LNG is relatively mature, so the infrastructure for LNG is also relatively mature. The transportation, storage, and refueling. There are over 150 harbors that are well equipped for LNG transportation. That's why it has very high commercial value. If we talk about shipping industry, I think they consume about they would also be greatly benefit from what we have in our product. We have also received several international certificates for our technology and products. And we could see that the industry's trend in the future would be bioenergy and biomanufacturing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for these impressive insights. It's indeed great work, and I'm looking forward to then also exchange with my previous speakers. But as a last presentation, I now would like to welcome maybe again coming back to the international perspective and trying to let's say put this in perspective with other challenges and as well as cycle economy. I would like to welcome Ms. Yanping Zhang, who is a research associate of the World Research Institute, the Chinese branch within the Food and Natural Resource Program. So she's working on sustainable transformation of agriculture and food systems and with a perspective on low carbon development in rural area. The chair says.
，Good morning。
非常高兴能在这儿为大家演讲。大家早上好，我很高兴能在这儿。
But because the time is limited, I'll use Chinese to make this presentation. And first, 首先呢，我想介绍一下世界自然研究所。我们是一家全球性的智库。
I would like to first briefly talk about our institute, World Resources Institute. We have several international offices, regional hubs, and program offices throughout the world. Now we have three focuses: food, land, water, cities, and energy. These three pillars together, we think, would contribute to the sustainable development from us, humankind. Now, I belong to the Food, Land, and Water Department. We are responsible for food security, green food, food, and also the logistic and the green transformation. Why do we do what we're doing? As mentioned by the other speakers, food security is vital for many people right now. On the left side, we could see from several reports, there would be about 10 billion people in 2050. To feed all these bellies, we need to have 56% more food by that time. And we would need more vegetated land for the food production. However, currently, we could see that in 59 countries, there are almost 282 million people faced with high level of acute food security. We have also noticed that food security is closely related to resource and energy. We could see that our agri-food system consumes about 70% of fresh water and 30% of the whole energy consumption. It is also responsible for 80% of biodiversity loss. It contributes to 30% global greenhouse gas emission. What we could also not oversee is the global food loss and waste. There are over 1 billion tons of food on average every year that went wasted, which means we have wasted 1/4 of fresh water used in agriculture. Therefore, we need to think about not only the production, but also the food consumption. Under this background, we have also developed this PPRR approach, which means the produce, protect, reduce, restore approach, so that we could produce more food and fiber from the existing production areas. What does protect mean? It means we need to protect remaining natural ecosystems from conversion and degradation. The 2R, reduce and restore, means we need to reduce humanity's footprint by shifting consumption patterns, lowering food loss and waste, and water stress. Restore means we need to restore degraded areas into a healthy, natural, or productive ecosystem. In order to meet the food shortage challenge by year 2050 and to reach our carbon emission reduction goals, we could see the global organizations have taken actions. We have not only taken actions in the production side, but also consumption. We could see that in production, we are trying to reduce GHG emissions. We are also trying to, on the consumption side, trying to reduce food loss and waste. This is the general approach. Of course, we have also paid attention to the circular economy that has been mentioned by the other speakers. Now, based on our strategies, we have, WRI, have already conducted different researches around the globe. I would like to share several examples now. Now, the biomass source. From the perspective of food security, where do we get our biomass? Usually, it comes from the agricultural waste or residential waste from the city areas. If we could gather what we can, then we would be able to meet 20% of the projected global primary energy use in 2050. But it might potentially be conflicting with food security. Therefore, we also culturally recommend against using single independent land just for biomass source. We should also have priorities for sourcing for biomass. Now we take the US here for the example. They have been trying to build a net zero economy by 2050. We've got several principles here under this policy. First of all, it is to prioritize waste residues and byproducts. Secondly, forestry materials should come from ecologically managed forests. Also, we could plant trees, other energy crops on marginal land. Also, we need to consider using biomass responsibly. We should take into account the ecosystems provided by biomass. We should also take considerations of the local communities. Moreover, we need to develop very specific guidelines in implementing those policies and principles. The second case study comes from Rwanda. Rwanda is located in Africa. And in Rwanda, 70% of the population work for agriculture and contribute 33% to the GDP. Rwanda is faced with great food security problem. Nearly 40% of its food production is lost or wasted annually. What do? We have worked together with the local government. To promote circularity and environmental sustainability. We try to guide small and medium-sized enterprises to join us. So far, the project we are having in Rwanda is going very well. And the first thing we need to do is to integrate the circular food systems into national policy-making framework. Secondly, we need to address the standard gaps for specific circular food products. Thirdly, we need to enhance capacity building support for SMEs, circular food system standards. Next, I would like to share a case from China. As mentioned by other speakers, we have developed diversified solutions. In Jiangsu, here, we have combined the straw and manure. And they turn the waste into organic fertilizer and apply it to agricultural production. By doing so, they have developed a very good circular economy, which is also green, increased the value significantly. The so-called second agriculture. The last one is a solution for combining sustainable agriculture with renewable energy. I just heard that it's also practiced often in Germany. And so I wouldn't really talk too much about it. Well, in China, we're doing something similar, maybe in slightly different situations. Now, looking at the future, we also have to take the challenges into consideration. What we're facing in the agri-food system transition. That's why we're looking forward to the exchanges with our counterparts from all over the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So I really liked how this last input talk connected to the first one with putting a bit of focus on the question how biomass energy, how sustainable, or like what are the characteristics to make it really sustainable and zero carbon or carbon neutral in the first place. Yeah? We saw a lot of solutions, but I think within our first presentation already we had to talk about the question where the biomass is coming from And especially in Germany, I think bioenergy has been increasingly criticized because such a large share of the energy, like the biomass, is coming from energy crops, which, of course, land requirements, the inputs, and everything make the concept very questionable. So my first question to Professor Nellis would be, let's say, apart from political reasons, maybe first thinking about technical challenges. Why is it actually that energy crops are still so much more competitive, apparently, compared to bio-waste or residue, which technically is freely available, without having all these production costs? So maybe you can give a bit of an explanation for us.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's a special situation in Germany that we based our bioenergy sector on energy crops. But if you take a deeper look in the area of the biogas sector, you can see that there is a developing going on that we decrease the use of energy crops. This started 5-6 years ago. And from the agricultural-based biogas plants in 10 years, we will have only half of it. So, and the other half will based on bio-waste and also the biogenic residues. And I showed you a picture. We have roughly more than 200 million tons of dry matter. And if you take an example, the manure, we have roughly 18 million tons of manure in Germany, dry matter without water. If you, but you have to handle with a fresh mass. So this is more than 160 million tons. And the best option from the ecological side is to go to a biogas plant. And now we have roughly 40% in the biogas plant. And we are working for technical solutions to find the possibilities for the other 60%. There we are on a good way. The last 20% will be a special challenge because we have only a small amount in the small agricultural areas, and therefore we need a special technical solution. There we are working also in our institute and also in the universities.
So how soon do you think these technologies will be marketable or available to fix the problem, yeah?
I think it's not a real technical problem. There we need 2, 3, 4 years. And then we have to combine it with the right support from the political side that we have business cases that can be working.
Thank you. I think that's very optimistic, like a very positive outlook, so to speak, and like that would be, of course, great to see such a fast change. Maybe talking about business models then. I think in China, we, like our previous presentations, they showed us business models, they showed us solutions which are already on the market in this respect. So my first question to Dr. Hao would be, so we saw like a business model which you presented in the end of your presentation, which also maybe with an eye on energy security and maybe also energy self-sufficiency. My question would be, in how far is this pellet technology relying on the use of energy crops? And also, I think you mentioned the import of biomatter from abroad. Yeah, so in how far is this like, in how far could you also like think about reducing your reliance on energy matter, especially if you talk about imported materials, which causes like a lot of other problems maybe? Yeah. You have to switch it on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think the reason why we treat about the rural material and is we need to higher the energy density. Because why we use fossil fuel? Because it's a higher density, it's easy to use, flexible. So first, why we use pellets? it's just a physical way to trade about the biomass. But maybe the next generation will use a chemical way. But the target is to make the energy density will be higher. This is the reason. Second, after we make these pellets, because it could be standard, it's a kind of a commercial. It could be sale in the market. So when we choose different kind of fuel, we need a standard to show what kind of energy fuel it is. So right now, China is the biggest energy consumption market in the whole world. So the reason why we make these biomass pellets, because we need to feed the demand of local market. And right now, for Japan, for England, England is the biggest pellets import country in the whole world, where Japan is the second one. Where they made the pellets, for example, in England, they have imported pellets from North America, which have a lot of forest residues, and made them into pellets. Well, Japan, they import pellets from South Asia, because they also have different kind of biomass resources there. Well, China will not import any pellets yet, but I think in the future, the pellets is a standard for fuel that could be traded. So maybe in next step, China could import, like we buy natural gas, we buy oil, but we can export our equipment. For example, made pellets in some rural areas and make a standard fuel to export any places where they need pellets. So I think this should be next step things we are trying to do. And as you mentioned about energy crops, first we needed to make clear what kind of conception of energy crops. For example, in China, we have so many bamboo in South China. It's already there. The life of bamboo only 5 years. If you don't use it, it will die. And after they die, they also got CO2 emissions. Why we use it? Why not we use it as energy? So it's not just we are talking about where we could plant some energy crops, but we can choose some energy crops already there and use it. We are not to got more CO2 emissions to the environment, but during we use it, it's the balance to the environment itself. So I think this should be a good way that we choose the energy crops as a kind of energy fuel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think that explains maybe the outlook, or like the long-term strategy is, I think, very important. I think in our second case study, we got a look into a system which seems to be relying largely on raw materials like straw manure and waste starch slurry, I think, which also got your products certified for the European market, I think. No? So my question to you would be then, how did you manage to get your, or why did you choose to make your system independent of energy crops, and how did you exactly do that? And how is this also of relevance, maybe not just for the European market, but also for the Chinese market?
In China, yes. Yes. Yeah, actually in China we use the rural materials, residues to use them. But of course, we have still need new methods to deal with some residues from the rural area. Especially for the manual treatment, we still need more efficient methods. Our consideration is to do our business first is to protect our environment and protect our soil. It's very important. All the residues, all the manuals, we have to use them very efficiently. The whole process, we don't need any financial support from the government. We can support ourselves, or our production cost is much lower than the fossil. And also, we sell our CO2 savement. So the development of our also production process has the focus of our costs. It's very important. If the cost is not good enough, so you cannot put them on the market.
All right, I see. So,
how?
I think we will talk a bit on the topic of dependency of the sector on subsidies, and also the question on energy costs. But you also mentioned, like, a point which I found very interesting, a focus also on soil protection. The role of biomass for soil protection. And maybe this leads me to something that Ms. Zhang said in her presentation about the Chinese case example, I think this Dongling farm. So you showed an example of circular agriculture where the residue is used for soil improvements. So we talk about residue retention to the soil. At the same time, we hear like the biogas sector should be more depending on residues and waste. So my question also maybe to the other panelists, in how far could at some point circular agriculture compete with the needs of biogas sector, yeah? And in how far are we competing for the same material at the end of the day? That didn't get quite clear to me. Maybe for everyone.
非常感谢主持人的问题。其实，大家都知道，中国是一个生物质资源非常丰富的国家。然后，我们的生物质资源的利润方式其实是多样化的，然后根据不同的需求以及不同区域的特点来发展。所以刚刚提到东林村，所以我就想以秸秆为例。其实，在中国每年秸秆的产生量是8.6亿吨。那么这8.6亿吨，我们如何
Just a short
Yeah, this one. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Let's go on. Yes, let's go on. Yeah, right.
Is that okay?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Right. So, our rice stocks are more than a billion tons. So in China, it's a very rich material, but rice stocks. For example, how we use them, we haven't used them enough. So we have different ways to use the rice stocks.
English, yes. No.
You can write English. You can hear the English?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
You can hear now? You can hear now?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Right. Right. We have very rich materials of rice stalks, for example. And rice stalks, we can use them back to the soil. The 60% of our rice stalks, they are just put back to the soil to use them as a manure. So we use them for energy only 18%. That means we have a still big potential there. So the substrates are still there. So we have a different way of to use them. You know, China is quite vast, and we have different material from different areas. So we have to put our to make the decision in which area to use which material. For example, the rice stalks on the menu, we use them mainly for the biogas. And in the other side, if we use more crops, energy crops, that means we have less crops for the feedstock and for the food production. So we have an example to make a balance of this one. So use the energy, but I don't think they contradict each other. They are not in competition. It only means how we use them in the balance. You know, the materials that are enough there. We have to see what's our need in this area, on the local need, and even in in Germany. So you mentioned about that some biogas concentrated on the rural average. In the other area, we need some more electricity. Perhaps we use more biomass. So different areas need different solutions. We have to make them not in a competition, but on the compensation to use them. There are no conflict there. So, and also only in this compensation, this balance, we can keep our environment in a better station. So, thanks.
Thank you for the clarification. Maybe perspective from the German side. How's the situation here?
I can add something about the German side. First, I have to mention that we don't have a problem that we don't have enough space to produce the amount for food for the people in Germany. So there's right now not a conflict. We can use 2 million hectares or 3 or 4. We don't will get a problem that we don't have enough production capacity for food. But ecologically, it's not useful. And in the longer space, I told you, we need 100% renewable energy systems. This is only one point. We also need a bioeconomy, and bioeconomy is based on the material use of all the produced biomass, and therefore we need also the agricultural space in the future to produce the substrates for the chemical industry and other issues. So this is the reason why we have to go for change in Germany. And I showed you also the chart about the residues. We have more than 200 million tons of dry matter. And if we go deeper, more than 50% of these are usable in biogas plants, theoretically and more also technological. So there we are working on. So it's not a technological problem. We have to organize the bioeconomy in Germany, and the easiest way from the political part is that we have subsidies for the material use of biomass and build up a real bioeconomy. And then you have a lot of parts in the value chain where you have residues, and there is not useful to go for a material use. And then this you can use for energy production. And this is the way we create in Germany, and this we have to implement in the next 10, 20 years. And from the political part, there's a lot of pressure to the bioenergy sector, and I think this is not a good solution also for Germany, because I showed you we have right now only 20% based on renewable energy. And first we have to put out the coal, and then the oil, then the fossil gas, and then we have also discussed how we manage the bioenergy and combine with the other renewable energy. So this we have to organize better in the future. There's a lot of ideological discussions going on in Germany.
Okay, I think this already here we're starting into a very important point into the policy perspective, yeah, and the question of necessary support and maybe disincentives from the political perspective, which then can make the sector not economic. Yeah, so you already mentioned that in Germany and right now we are changing to a more restrictive legislation, which made business for a lot of biogas plants, I think, unsustainable. Yeah, so I hear like a lot of plants they cannot renew their licenses because of this high energy crop content and other things. So yeah, my question I think to all, like also our practitioners, would be in how far policy support in the sector matters, or in how far you're depending on, for instance, energy subsidies or other, let's say, sector support. What would be the necessary regulatory framework to increase also like the marketization and the concept nationally and internationally? So you can, yeah, you can start. Sorry.
First, we have to concern about when we're talking about the resources, how we can use it. We need to make clear what is needed, what's the market it is. So right now in China, in the whole world, the biomass energy is 4 times compared with the energy consumption in the whole world. That means it's enough energy that we can use based on biomass. Where in the whole world right now, biomass energy only takes 10% of the total energy consumption in the whole world. Where in China, only 1%. So we still have a long way to go. But first, when we're talking about a straw or waste of the agriculture, we have to think about these waste. It's just connected with agriculture, or these kind of resources will not be just used in agriculture system, but the whole environment systems. Then we need to find the value of these resources. So in the energy market, since it's huge in China, so these kind of resource could be more value than compared with other kind of final users. So this would be the way that the market choose this energy, choose these kind of resources. This is a very important thing. Even after we have our market demand, it would be an engine for the use of these kind of resources and make it into industries. So this is the key issue for these resources we can do. So I think no matter China and Europe, they will also thinking about the biomass should be a very good way if we use it as energy, because it's a kind of solar. It's chemical. It's the only chemical renewable energy in the renewable energy family. It could be used very flexible, and it no need other other kind of energy to compare with it. It can concern the energy itself. So it's the same thing like fossil fuel, why we use so widely. So based on this, I think bioenergy could be a very important part of the energy consumption in the future, not just for the energy, but also the material, because now most of the material from the core, from the you cannot renewables, but biomass can be material and it could be renewable. So I think in future the bio industry especially will benefit. No matter China or other countries, they will have their bioeconomy policies will improve the bioenergy industries. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe other perspectives on policy framework and other, let's say, necessary requirements.
Personally, from the aspect of policymaking, with technological advancements, the government should be guiding the direction of technological advancement and how to apply those technologies in economic activities. Obviously, companies need to focus on improving their technologies, but it should always be under the guidance of the legal framework and the policies, the green policies, the green transformation, carbon neutral. It's not only in China, but also on a global scale. It's a path that every country has to take. This is a challenge or problem we should try to solve as humankind, as a whole community. If we speak about policy supports, based on what the other speakers have said, obviously we've got a great future and great potential for biomass economy. It's not only concerning energy, but also biomaterial, biotechnology. That's why it's super important, it's very important that the government should provide legal support and policy guidance. How to integrate the technological advancements into the economy should always be guided by the government. We also mentioned the food security, energy security, or bioeconomy's application in, for example, transportation industry. We need cross-industrial cooperation so that stakeholders from different industries could sit together and work out a solution that's most efficient. Thirdly, speaking of subsidies, now countries have been developing their own biotechnologies. Maybe we should also actually engage more support from private companies. Actually, that's what the government could help us, not really subsidies directly from the government, but more like supporting private companies to join and support the technology and economy. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we heard a very important keyword here, multi-stakeholder process. So I think it's time to include the rest of our stakeholders, our audience, which of course will also have insights, or at least I hope so. So we have a microphone here. If you cannot reach it, just read out the question. I will repeat it because we need it in the microphone for translation. So yeah, maybe other insights on international experience, other industries, let's say policy issues, whatever comes to your mind. You've been listening to us for quite some time, so I think here, and then Eva in the front, so in the back. Maybe also state your name for the rest of the audience. Perfect.
So I tried in English. My first question is, in the past there was always a discussion of steam reforming and producing directly hydrogen via steam reforming. I don't hear anything about this technology anymore. Is it out, or is it still possible to produce hydrogen directly out of biomass? That's my first question. My second question is, I think there's a competition between bioenergy and food. You said in Germany we already import net 5 million, the harvest of 5 million hectares of land, just covering our food demand. So I think there's very well a competition between food and energy. And in this respect, I think we should reconsider our sustainability, to make our agriculture sustainable via organic agriculture. I think organic agriculture only brings a harvest of about 50%. And I think that increases the land demand considerably. So I think there's a conflicting objective between bioenergy and organic agriculture. I think we should reconsider and think about improving sustainability of agriculture by technology and not via organic agriculture. Up to now, we have 30 years of big support of organic agriculture, and only 6.8% of the monetary value of food comes from organic agriculture. When I consider the higher prices, it's around 4% of the food supply is really organic. So, and it's using 13 point something percent of the area of land. So I think that is the wrong way. We should reconsider sustainability of agriculture via organic. I think it should be done via technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I assume the question by the eye contact was directed at you. So do you want to maybe give a short reply?
The steam reforming is direct from biomass. There are a lot of technological problems. So there are no real activities in Germany right now. You find some activities in Asia and also in the US. But from my point of view, if you create a decentralized solutions like we do it in Germany, I think it will not working in an efficient way. So we don't focus on it at the DBFZ, and there's also no real activity in other research institutes. The other point, from my personal view, I'm a very good friend of organic agriculture, but there are some challenges. You mentioned some of these, and the point before, I have to keep it clear. We have to use the agricultural space we have in Germany to produce food, but this is only 15 to 18%. We need more than 60% for the producing of feed for the production of meat. So this we have also to think about it. And it's also clear in the future we don't have enough agricultural space to produce energy crops. We need all the space we have in Germany to build up a real bioeconomy, and the first step is to have a material use in a cascade way, and then we have enough residues from this value chain that we have enough to produce also bioenergy. And but the first step must be the material use, and therefore we need in 20 years every agricultural space we have.
Thank you. I think I had another question in the back, and then here, and then there, and then there, and then our time is over. So maybe please keep it short. I think the gentleman in the gray jacket was first.
Very shortly, Philipp Grundmann from ATB and Humboldt University. My question is particular to Mr. Zhang, but also maybe Mr. Hong. As the solutions you described are very visionary, and we see similar developments here in Germany, very often having challenges with integrating, let's say, the farmers, farming communities in these developments. So we sometimes perceive a divide there, and I would like to know if, in terms of the business models that you are developing there, you have some experiences in China maybe on how to deal with this.
For the business model in China is a little bit different. If you know, in China, manufacturing industries is so developed. So nowadays, the industry zone will change from cities to countryside. So this is a benefit for we can use rural material directly based on CHP plant. That means I mentioned, the industries, they need heat and electricity. So based on biomass, we can produce green electricity with green steam to our industry zones demand. And they can load down, they can give the same energy consumption as natural gas or as coal. The quality of the energy is the same. but the price is between the coal and natural gas. So it could be competitive price for the biomass energy, but the green, the low down the CO2 emission will give our industry productions more competitive in the future market. So this is a very important thing that I want to mention. And we can choose different kind of technology. For example, if we just use wood chip or straws, we can use what called the plant grade boilers. Or if the distance were far than 100 kilometers, then we'll made biomass into pellets. So it depends where the market is, where the resources is. So it could be many choice. And we have already solved this problem between these two demands of the distance. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is already waiting at the microphone.
My question is for Senor Hao Hong. My name is Manfred Lüth from Trustec GmbH. My question is, do you have any experiences or your point of view on using pellets for electrification in rural communities? I'm thinking about the island communities where there is no competition between land use for agriculture or energy. So Indonesia and Philippines and so on.
First, I have to say, for wood residues would be the price, because the collecting fee is higher. Most of the trees are on the mountains in China. So compare with the wood residues and agricultural straw, the agriculture will be cheaper compared with the wood residues. So right now, our first step to begin our business is based on wood residues. But right now, most of resources based on agricultural waste. But I still have to say, in Southeast Asia, they can find cheap wood residues because they are not, for example, they are not just used wood 100%, but they also have at least half of the wood residues is still there. And then the cost is cheaper. So what kind of technology we choose depends on how much cost we can base on. And we have to let our energy service could be competitive with other kind of issue, for example, natural gas or coal. So this is a very important time we are talking about low down the CO2 emission. In this area, our energy supply could be competitive with coal or natural gas. So I think, but right now, so the cheapest choice is agricultural waste, for example. The second would be wood waste, and then the natural gas. Of course, the coal fire is the cheapest one, but it's not so cheap if we calculate the CO2 emission inside. So this is the way we are trying to do, not just China, but the whole world. Thank you.
Thank you. Time is very advanced, but I think we had one question in the back, I believe. Okay. Or maybe, okay. Taken back then. Good.
Yes, hello. My name is Robert Blumenau from Yamo. And I want to address my question to Mr. Zhang. As I understood it correctly, you are cleaning up your biological gas from some chemical compounds, especially from mercury compounds and sulfuric compounds. Am I right? And I want to know if you see the possibility to transfer those potential pollutants somehow to the chemical industry to have a subsequent use of those compounds, or is their share so low that that a subsequent use is not possible or not profitable?
Now, regarding handling the gas, we do purification, desulfurization. Now, carbon dioxide and methane are separated after the process. Now we could recycle up to 99% carbon dioxide after this process. How to use those carbon dioxide? We are actually quite advanced compared to our peers. Now during our ICC certification, we did the carbon capture and storage. We were able to improve our efficiency up to 30%, and we could guarantee that there was no leaking of methane during the whole process. Thank you. I don't know if I have answered your question.
Thank you very much. All very interesting and important points, and I think I saw more hands kind of trying to move, but I'm afraid our time is now really over, so I would ask you to move your remaining questions to the coffee break. I thank you very much for all your attention and critical questions, and I hope you enjoyed our session today. Thank you.